December 13th, and the incredibly important announcement out of the Federal Reserve. I have all the details and exactly what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. I know in this video, I do want to focus on December 13th and the big announcement coming out of the Federal Reserve, as we do know they will be coming out with an announcement on that day that will impact all of us in some way, shape, or form, as they have been on an aggressive campaign over the last couple years. Therefore, we need to continue watching all of them closely and seeing what they're going to be doing here with this latest announcement, as they've been on this campaign. And again, we know that it's been making things a lot more expensive for all of us and making things even harder. Either way, I want to focus on the details of this announcement, what we can likely expect out of this announcement, and what it's going to mean for all of us going forward. Either way, it's an important one. Let's get into it and talk through all the details. Really fast before we do, thanks so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe right down below the video. It's totally free to do so, and I'm here for you right by your side every single day, watching the latest details hitting the wire, doing all the necessary research so that you don't need to, and breaking it all down into these short videos, which I deliver a couple times throughout the day, so you can stay posted on what's actually going on, and anything popping up you can possibly grab or take advantage of, and anything else popping up right now that again is going to impact you, your money, your benefits, your lifestyle, your bank account, and of course just being here right by your side every single day, advocating on your behalf. So again, thanks for being here. I truly do appreciate your support. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and let's get into it and talk about the Federal Reserve, December 13th, the big announcement, and what we can expect from all this information. All right, so you've heard me talk about the Federal Reserve before, right? They've been on this very aggressive campaign since March of 2022, aggressively raising interest rates. And again, we know that interest rates are very, very high right now on basically everything, right? Doesn't really matter where you're getting credit from. You could be getting a mortgage, a 30-year, a 15-year fixed rate. You could be borrowing money on a credit card. You could be getting an auto loan. Literally, it does not matter. Interest rates are through the roof right now. And these are the highest interest rates that we've seen in some instances on some debt products out there, like credit cards, the highest interest rate we've ever seen in the history on an average, okay? This is very high. In fact, the average credit card interest rate right now is about 21%. That's crazy. That is so high. Could you imagine being on the receiving end of that, receiving 21% interest on your money? That'd be pretty nice, right? Well, thankfully for the banks out there, they are on the receiving end, and unfortunately for us, we are on the paying end of that, okay? All right, as a result of that, we want to focus on the Federal Reserve. Now, here's why. They've been aggressively raising interest rates to bring down inflation. That is their whole idea behind this, right? Now, the whole logic behind increasing interest rates is to decrease the appetite for borrowing and spending money, okay? Not only from us, the American people, but again, as businesses and things like that, as it gets more and more expensive to borrow money, people are thinking, I don't want to borrow money. It's going to cost me 7%, 7.5%, 8%, 9%, 21%, depending on what we're borrowing money from, right? So during this time right now, when interest rates are so incredibly high, we probably don't want to borrow that much money because it is so incredibly expensive, versus a few years ago when we could go and get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage for less than 3%. That's practically free, right? Yeah, it's very, very cheap. Well, as a result of that, a lot of people are pulling back and not spending as much, not spending as much money on, discretionaries, but again, spending more money because prices have gone up so substantially. And again, if you're floating any balances on credit cards or things like that, again, it's just getting more and more expensive because we're paying more money for interest every single month, which is making it really tough. Well, guess what? They're wrapping up their 2-day FOMC meeting, which is a meeting that they have every 6 weeks where they get together, all of these economists, and they come forward and they decide what's going on with the economy. Is it healthy? Is it strong? Do we need to cut rates? Do we need to pause? Do we need to raise? What are we going to do, right? Well, that's what's going on here, okay? So they start their meetings on Tuesday, the 12th, and they wrap it up on Wednesday, the 13th, okay? As a result of that, we'll get the initial announcement to see what is going on with interest rates. Are they going to raise again? Are they going to pause? Are they going to cut? Highly doubt it. They're not going to cut, and probably until sometime mid next year. That would be my opinion anyway. But we'll see what happens here, okay? We will be getting that announcement. Then, about 30 minutes after we get the initial announcement as far as what they're going to be doing, as far as their decision on interest rates, then we will have the press conference with the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, where he will come out and very carefully tiptoe around with all of his words, because he knows that all of his words are being analyzed very carefully. And again, he will tiptoe around around all the questions. He will come in and answer whatever questions are sent to him, and then again, we'll get a better idea of what they're thinking as far as what's going on with the Federal Reserve. Now, this will be their last meeting for 2023. And again, there will be more, obviously, many more next year, 2024. But this is what I want to bring to your attention here, okay? Because here's the thing. If they raise interest rates again, guess what that means? It means that it's getting yet again more expensive for all of us to borrow any money. Now, if you're not borrowing money on anything, if you don't have an auto loan, if you don't have a mortgage, if you're opening up a new mortgage, if you don't have anything like that, you probably don't need to worry about it all that much. Now, again, it's going to have major economic impacts, and there will be, things. This will directly impact the economy in a pretty big way, because this is not only impacting us, the American people, as in we're cutting back on spending, but this is also impacting businesses in a big way as well. They're not investing as much capital because they don't want to borrow money with a massive interest rate on that, and they don't want to, get tied into a huge interest rate trying to pay that thing down. So they're investing less capital. As a result of that, we are spending less money. Collectively, the American people are spending less discretionary money. As a result of that, it's not going to the businesses, and they're not making the margins, they're not making the revenues, they're not making the profits, and as a result of that, it's going to contract everything, right? So you see how this whole thing works here, right? The less money that we spend, the less money the businesses have to reinvest into the economy, to hire more people, to boost up employment, and again, the circle goes on and on, right? So it's a big old circle out there, and the whole thing is basically predicated on these interest rates. Now, obviously, that's not the whole picture, but it is a major picture, especially over the last couple of years here, as we've seen interest rates go from very low, 3%, 2.5%, up to what, 5.5, whatever it is. Again, it's very, very high as far as the federal funds rate goes and things like this, okay? So their target rate, and then again, we know that interest rates on everything else are pegged off of this as well, okay? Very important stuff. How much it costs to borrow money. Again, yeah, we've been kind of spoiled for the last several years, for maybe like however many years. Money was very cheap. It was almost like free to borrow money. Now, obviously, nothing is free. There's always a price for everything, but it was very, very cheap to borrow money. Sub 3% on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. That's crazy. That is crazy low, right? No wonder why so many people were buying houses there and why the market was on fire, as it still kind of is, because it's a supply and demand issue. But before, it was so cheap that why wouldn't somebody, right? If they could get approved, it'd be like, hey, this is a great opportunity to lock something in, right? Anyway, we will see here, this again, it might seem like, it's not really a big deal. The announcement out of the Federal Reserve, who cares? It's not a big of a deal at all. It actually is. It's a big deal, and it will impact all of us, because this just simply means what's going on with the economy, what's going on with money, what's going on with debt, what's going on with interest rates, all of this stuff. It's all being determined by the Federal Reserve and their decisions, okay? So anyway, we have to watch this closely as well, because this could be another factor that really, really collapses this economy and makes it even more slow, if it slows down the economy even more than what the contractions are that we're already seeing. So a lot of stuff going on right now. Either way, I'll keep you posted with the latest details. Again, please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day. Again, always leave your comments, your questions, your feedback down below. If there's anything I can come back and elaborate on or talk about further, or whatever you need me to do, of course, I can always do that. So enjoy, have a good one, and I'll catch you again later in the next one. I'll keep you posted. I want to keep you informed of what's going on here. It's a super busy time. Anyway, enjoy. I'll catch you again later in the